Yeah, Bell's palsy is something that I do like to share awareness with because there isn't a lot out there. It's a real emotional trip when you get it. So for me personally, I woke up in 2015. You wake up at sudden onset, your face is paralyzed. As a human who is a extreme extrovert, I love being out and about and being with friends and being in front of a camera and etc. It was horrible. And universe wise, I the first thing I did was Google, Louise Hay, metaphysical reasons for Bell's palsy, and the reasoning is that you're not using your voice.
Well, today we're going to interview one of my friends, Barbie, out of Canada. She is an amazing woman, and she's a businesswoman. She's a Bell's palsy survivor, and we talk all things business, marketing, health. It's a fun one, and I hope you will enjoy it too. So stay tuned in just a few moments for the Finally Marketing That Works podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Slater, and I have with me a new friend, Barbie, and she's going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her and her background. Good morning, Barbie. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you, Mitchell, for having me on your podcast. I'm very excited for you starting this new adventure. Having a podcast is a big endeavor. I'm so honored to be asked to be one of the first guests.
Thank you. I'm
my
glad
name's
you
Barbie.
said yes.
I did say yes, and I love it. I love fellow entrepreneurs starting new adventures, especially during COVID. So I can't wait to talk about that. I'm Barbie. I'm from Vancouver in Canada here, home of the 2010 Olympics. Beautiful city. I'm so excited and grateful that I get to live here. I've lived here my whole life. So yeah, I am a mompreneur. I have two sons, 15 and 13. So we're going through that life together. Great humans. You know how it is. And currently running a dance planning events. I ran dance competitions with my mom and my sister for 14 years. We had events over Western Canada. Unfortunately, we had to close down due to COVID. My mom and my sister are on to new adventures, and I've decided to try again and start and run some small events here in Vancouver. I'm very excited about that, so I can't wait to tell you about that. And also, we were chatting a little bit about my Bell's palsy, so I can't wait to talk with you about that. A lot of people are interested on podcasts about hearing about that, so I'm very passionate about sharing that awareness for that as well. So let's get started.
Fantastic. Well, I would love to start with how long have you been doing dance? I know it's a huge part of your life. So how many years has it been for you?
Well, I danced my whole life. I started dancing when I was a kid, jazz, tap, ballet, etc. Danced, every day after school. My mom ended up buying the studio because, her joke is that it was cheaper to buy the studio than to pay for our dance classes. But my mom's an entrepreneur as well. Both my parents are, so I've been really lucky to learn from them. So I danced my whole life. Went, to high school, graduated high school, went to business school. Typically after grade 12, you don't dance as an amateur anymore. Some will go on to professional dance, but I didn't. And, had a corporate job for a while, had my kids, then started working. My mom had started the dance competition in 2021, and I started working full time with her. So that's where my career planning dance competitions took off. Very passionate about it, passionate about the community, love being on stage. So that was a big part of it. And last year in 2020, unfortunately, we had to close due to COVID, running large scale events for children. Not necessarily the best business to be in other than cruise ships during a pandemic. So we decided the best course of action was to close down. My mom has retired. My sister is on to, spending time with her family and doing that she wanted to do. And now I'm on to this new crazy adventure of starting a few small events myself. So I'm very excited about that. That's kind of how the dance adventure has gone for me. Yeah. So a lot of competitions are pivoting to this. Pivot is the key word, of course, this year, which is also a dance word, so it's quite funny. Have pivoted to using virtual dance competitions, and it's very interesting from a marketing point of view, because these concepts over the past 10 years, we actually launched a virtual dance competition about 10 years ago, but the community wasn't quite ready for the idea and the concept of me just being on video and there's no live event and there's no energy from the event. So quite interesting, because the concept is very cool. You can put your videos in, be judged by, judges anywhere around the world, and it was very cool, but it wasn't really catching on. And now, of course, literally overnight, there is competitions coming up with these virtual concepts and these amazing classes you can take online. And, dancers are able to take, say, a class with, someone in the, Royal Ballet programs in London and anywhere. Very cool. Never mind getting there, never mind being able to get into the studio or feeling like you were accomplished enough to be in that class. Whereas now you can take it from home, and these concepts and these marketing ideas are just mind-blowing, and it's really cool that people have stepped up. Me personally, my brand and my feeling personally, my brand is very personal now for my events. I thrive, and I think one of my biggest strengths is being on stage and my personality and the atmosphere that I create. So what I've decided to just let the people who are doing the virtual dance competitions, kill it at that. And I'm just, I've done a couple small programs here in Vancouver, with our health orders here, following those, and they've been great. And I'll try next year to do larger events that way.
Reading up on you before our podcast, you mentioned palsy and how that affected you in business, and so I'd love for you to share, whatever you're comfortable with, how having that affected business and just affected your personal life, and how you recovered from that.
Yeah, Bell's palsy is something that I do like to share awareness with, because there isn't a lot out there. It's a real emotional trip when you get it. So for me personally, I woke up in 2015. You wake up at sudden onset, your face is paralyzed. As a human who is an extreme extrovert, I love being out and about and being with friends and being in front of a camera and etc. It was horrible. And universe wise, the first thing I did was Google, Louise Hay, metaphysical reasons for Bell's palsy. And the reasoning is that you're not using your voice. And, I said that to my mom. I was like, are you kidding? You never stop talking. So doing some more research into that is, long story short, is you're not standing up for yourself. You're not using your voice. You're not making your opinions heard. You're not even considering what your opinion is. That's kind of that phase that I was in my life. So it's a virus that attacks the cranial nerve on right here beside your ear and paralyzes the nerves in the side of your face. That was the left side of my face. And I wasn't surprised. Once I read that, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I basically stayed in bed for 2 weeks. Didn't really feel sorry for myself. I'm not that kind of person. I just basically was like, okay, we can be tough. Some people, it comes back after 3 days, some 6 weeks. I can do 6 weeks. That's all right. We can do 6 weeks. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, a year. I have about 85% back in my face. We're on video. I know your guests aren't, but you can see how my face isn't perfectly symmetrical. My mouth isn't symmetrical here on this side. Most new people that meet me don't notice right up front. But of course, I'm still very self-conscious about it. It's very hard for me. In photos, I had to learn how to re-smile. I had to learn all those things, and that was very hard. I wouldn't say that it affected me in business necessarily. I think that it helped me in business. It has given me a platform to talk about. It's an interesting topic for people. I love podcasting or guesting on podcasts, like I was mentioning to you, and it is a very interesting thing. Not a lot of people know about it. People who do go through it are very resilient, and I'm very big believer on, things happen for a reason. I am working on a platform, Bell's Palsy Talks, it's called, with Barbie. It's not really quite ready yet, but I'll definitely want to come back and chat with you about that when it's ready. I just want to kind of just get people talking. I'm not a doctor. I don't know that angle about it. I don't think people with Bell's palsy necessarily care about that. It's more of a support, and hey, if Barbie did it or if somebody did it, then I can do it too. And that's kind of how I live my life, is trying to support and inspire others. So
I love that. And I love that you're using it for that purpose. You didn't just like get this Bell's palsy.
Well, 2021, I think for everybody, is a bit of a train wreck, I guess is the nicest way to say it. Everybody has had to, I don't think that anybody that we know or anybody in our lives hasn't been impacted in some way. Even if you just can't see your mom for a while. So business to me in this period in my life, I'm really trying to look at it as with gratitude. I mean, I try to do that in all areas of my life. Like you said, I'm not a woe is me person. I don't think any of us should or can afford the time to be like that. I surround myself with people who aren't like that, and I encourage other people to do that as well. So for my business, when we closed it in March, I was heartbroken. I did spend a good 2 months being depressed and, not knowing where I was going to go, definitely drinking too much wine, those kinds of things. Then I kind of, you got to stand up, dust yourself off. I am a business girl. I went to school for business. That's what I always wanted to do. I knew that I would be an entrepreneur. I always told my mom that I would work with her. And she told me I had to go work with someone else first to get my own footing and become my own person. And I did that. So this period, in COVID in 2021, I think we've all had the opportunity to really stop, reassess where we are, who we are, and where we want to be going in life. I don't think that there's been one person who hasn't had to shift, had to, look at themselves in the mirror and be like, is this actually something that I want to be getting up and going to do in the mornings? And I really admire, I see so many people, especially in the arts and dance community, where, a really good girlfriend of mine, her career is teaching adult dance. And here in Vancouver, adult dance, couple times now, has been completely shut down. Her entire business and career has been based on adult dance. So she had to turn around, and now she teaches adult dance in her living room and has started a personal training business, virtual. These kinds of people that I surround myself with are the ones that I encourage everybody to. This pandemic is really a shift in our whole universe, to have an opportunity to stop, reassess, look at how much we miss our family, how much we've been missing our friends during this time. Who's the person that you really want to see that you haven't been able to? Let's spend some more time with them. Keep those people around us. So when we're focusing on our business, our personal life is fun and exciting, and we can, take it from there and jump off that, especially business-wise.
Well, you've been doing this for a while, and I know you said your background is you love marketing. You've been doing that for a while. How have you seen marketing in the last, even year, but decade, 5 years, whatever? How have you seen it change? What was working back then? What wasn't working? And then how have you seen that transition into 2021?
Marketing to me is mind-blowing. Like, I am so passionate about it. I love watching it. When I went to business school, we were learning about, and I'm sure it's similar for you, we were learning about newspaper ad placement, and whether you wanted to put your ad on a bus or in a magazine, and you were spending thousands of dollars in these business cases that we would study on whether you wanted to put an ad in a magazine, which is completely yes, they have studies on their readers. I don't know if someone looks at my ad. I don't know if that gets rained on or if it gets ripped out before people get it. Now I've spent 10 grand on this ad that is completely immeasurable. I have no idea. Can you even imagine when we went to school, if we had the opportunity to even consider the fact that if I put an ad on Facebook, I can budget $5 and I can literally see the demographic of who is looking at it. I only pay if someone clicks on it. Absolutely mind-blowing. So for us as marketers right now, looking at this world of like everything is in front of us is just so exciting. And I can't get enough of it. I don't think that we could really, condense in 5 minutes how marketing has changed in the past 10 years. I could talk about it forever. I'm sure you could too. But I think to me as entrepreneurs and marketers, like so exciting. So exciting that I can put an ad on and, nobody's clicking on it and then change the graphic like right now and then change, and then put it on there. Yeah, like I said, I'm so passionate about it. I encourage all entrepreneurs to get out there, even if you're meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning and you've been working and you're wearing sweats, who cares? Like, let's just get on videos. Let's talk. Those are the kind of videos that people want to see, and podcasts. You were saying right at the beginning, let's just chat. If the internet lags or the video lags, who cares? Everybody knows that. We just want to talk to real people and be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, did that Facebook ad work for you? Or what one of my favorite jokes that I talk about is when I first started doing Facebook campaigns, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, like all of us, put up an ad, carefully crafted, make the graphic just looks perfect because I overanalyze all these things because I'm a graphic designer. Get 5 or 6 clicks, you're like super excited. Later that night, put a picture of myself with a massive pimple right here on my face. On my personal Facebook page, gets like 250 likes, comments everywhere, so I'm like, maybe I'll just put that on my Facebook ad. Everybody's like, thank God I don't have that on my face. But anyways, back to the marketing. I mean, we could talk forever about how amazing it is. In 2021, people have been just killing it at being like, hey, you know what? I'm going to start that podcast. I'm going to start those videos. I'm going to stop being a wimp and putting myself out there, because if Barbie can do it, or Mitchell can do it, or these people can do it, sure, give it a shot. Worst case scenario, nobody looks at it. Then it's totally fine. Doesn't matter anyways.
And it's
So yeah.
changed drastically, of course, for sure, especially in this last year when everything went online. And I think you're totally right when you say put yourself out there. I think that's one of the hardest parts, but the best start is just you make a video. Like you said, make a video, just put it online. If you got a pimple, don't worry about it. People got pimples. And I think people want that authenticity. They want people to be real. And something we've really noticed, which I thought was really interesting, humongous companies like Amazon and Starbucks and all these huge corporations, and we small in their marketing as much as they can. They try and be that small company, but then you got all these pop shops, these 1-person companies, 10-person companies that try and sound like they're we are this and we do this. Like they sound big, but they're tiny. And I'm like, man, why do we always try and sound ginormous in our marketing when we're small? And the big guys are always trying to sound like they're us, like smaller. So I think people want that small. They love to support small businesses, especially since COVID. They want to help support and be a part of, embrace that, and just be like, hey, we are a small business. We're a part of the community, and show people want to spend more money with us because we are that. What do you kind of think?
I 1,000% am all about authenticity. If, when I talk to my kids about this, they play high level lacrosse and sports, and one of their friends, he's a little guy. And the thing is if you're smaller, don't idolize people who are 6'5". There are people to idolize who are like you. If I have curly hair, I'm blonde. If I would like to have long, luxurious, shiny auburn hair, not going to happen. So I think that where you're going with on the business front is you're totally right. We've all fallen into the trap of watching someone else's video and being like, okay, well, I'm going to I got to buy that exact chair and I have to have that exact lighting and I have to do all that. Well, it's uncomfortable. What makes you comfortable? What makes me comfortable in my business is talking about myself and all the random things that I've tried. And I've tried this for Bell's palsy, and I've tried these essential oils, and I've done this, and my skin turns a little bit red when I talk, and I'm super self-conscious about that. And I'm not going to lie, that does stop me from doing videos, and it does stop me sometimes, which is okay. And we just got to keep trying again. We get better as we go, but you're not going to get better at being something that you're not. You can try for a long time. Might wake up one day with a paralyzed face if you're trying to, and that's what I don't like the fake it till you make it saying. I don't like that. I like that you aspire or envision being there and you're on a path and you're intending on getting there. Absolutely. Faking it till you're making it, you're going to crash. You're going to burn. You're not, it's not real for you. And authenticity is always the way to go. You're totally right. I'm a small company. I'm one person. I do, really love that, is being authentic, speaking your truth. Like you said, we're only going to crash and burn. So many people, if you look at shelves in the bookstores, what do they talk about? They talk about, I was living a life that wasn't for me. I was doing this. I was trying too big. I was working too hard. I was being a lawyer, but I hated being a lawyer, because my dad wanted me to be a lawyer. And, I'm 40 now, and I'm really trying to embrace being true to myself. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I know what that is or that I've figured it out yet, but my goal and my intention is to figure that out. Focus on self-care, which is something I think in business and marketing that we don't talk about enough. So maybe we can have another episode on that. I'd love to chat about that with you. And, let's just learn from people who have already done it. You listen to people who do run large, corporations, and you listen, you look at a Warren Buffett and be like, hey, you know what? I take my lunch to school. I take my lunch every day that my wife packs me because you know what? That's authentic and that's what he likes. I think that that's really important. I think that we focus too much on being things that we're not, on keeping up with the Joneses, because the Joneses probably aren't even happy anyways. So, Gary Vee says, which is a great quote, I'd rather be happy in my Honda Civic than crying in my Ferrari. So we need to just be grateful for what we have, embrace this opportunity that we have right now during this pandemic, enjoy the people around us, enjoy these new beginnings that we can have, start that video, do that blog, take that dance class that you can do online now. Nobody's watching you anyways. You get to be in your living room now. And I think that's great. I think that this podcast has really helped me, and I'm really excited because we've talked about a lot of things that inspire me. This is why I love podcast guesting, is because I get to talk to other people who inspire me. Being a guest is, I'm telling my story, but I love to, be out there and meet new people and get information and be inspired by what other people are doing, starting podcasts and doing your thing. So, for me today, that's great. Hey, you know what? I need to step out of my comfort box today a little bit and maybe try something new and maybe, record a new video. So thank you so much for that.
You bet. Good. Well, I know as we wrap up here, I'd love if you could share your 3, maybe even if not, you don't have 3, that's fine. 1 to 3 big takeaways for somebody if they were looking to start a business or get into marketing.
Well, like I said earlier, I have had a lot of entrepreneurs in my life that I've been able to look up to and learn from. So I don't know necessarily that I would say that I wish that I knew, but what I would tell, people is to make sure that you're passionate about it. There's so many people that blog about, make sure your business is what you're truly passionate about. Absolutely. If you are passionate about birdhouses and you go out and you build those birdhouses and you find those birdhouse people that are also passionate about, birdhouses. That's what you want to do. You want to be authentic, like we were saying, and do that. However, on the flip side, from a marketing point of view, you want to make sure in the world of birdhouses, if you're going to quit your job and focus on that there's actually people out there that are going to buy them. Sometimes passion is amazing, but you can be passionate about a lot of things. So just to kind of look at whether you're passionate about the birdhouses or whether you're passionate about business or being your own boss. Someone like 𝗕𝗲𝗰𝗲 𝗣𝗍𝗀 from Sleep Country, amazing story. She wanted to be her boss. Her own boss. She was passionate about starting a business. So she looked out there and what's there a need for? Mattresses. Okay, great. I'm sure she didn't grow up as a kid being like, I am going to sell mattresses. Mattresses are what I am passionate about. She's passionate about business. That's something that I've always, looked at. So I would say definitely follow your passion. Make sure that there's a need for it, though. If there isn't, that's great. Blog about your birdhouses and get that personal satisfaction. I would love to see that as well. Also be ready to be scared and cry sometimes and be broke sometimes. So you want to be ready for that. People will look at entrepreneurs and people who have podcasts or who are an author and they're famous and doing those things. They cried a lot to get there. This wasn't something that they just, woke up tomorrow and did. They went through a lot of, typically, we're not going to buy a book from someone who's like, went through life and, and had everything easy. They've gone through shit. They've done it. They've had grit. They've done that. So you need to be ready to have those experiences, too. And I like to think that I've been through a lot of stuff. So I take that as a responsibility to try to share with up and coming entrepreneurs. I'm not going to say younger, because I think if you're 80, you should start today too. Up and coming entrepreneurs to kind of say, hey, you know what? She's been through that. Maybe I can do it too.
Love that. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, Barbie, what's the best way they can get in touch with you?
So my website, my personal website is Barbie Wharton, 𝗕𝗿𝗋𝗋, just like the business school. I mean, I wish I could say I was related to those people, but I'm not. But that's how you spell it. .com. And I would love to connect with, anybody. I'm always open to new opportunities and new people. And I've loved being on your podcast. I would love to be involved in any future projects that you do. I love your message. And I think as entrepreneurs, all we can do is lift each other up and wish the best for everybody. Everybody kind of focus on our buckets that we're good at, honor what they're good at, and help each other out, because there's enough success in the whole world for everybody.
Amen to that. Well, Barbie, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Wish you nothing but the best in 2021 and beyond. And hopefully we get to talk again soon.
You betcha. I'm happy to be on your podcast anytime, and congratulations for getting started. That's great. And have a great day.
Thank you. Well, I've said it once and I will say it again. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and were able to take at least one thing away from today, whether it was on business or marketing, or maybe even inspiring you on the health side of things that Barbie and I talked about. It was a fun one, and I'm inspired by her, and I hope you are too. We'll be here next week with another new episode and another new guest, so tune in next week, and we'll see you then on the Finally Marketing That Works podcast.